Hari Om, and let's continue look at pranas, the vayus, today in our book Pranayama. And we have 5 minor pranas left, so we looked through the big ones. Now we're going to continue with the little ones. And although I say the little ones, that's how they're called, but it still doesn't mean they're less important. And you will learn why. So here in the description says that 5 major pranas, along with them there's a 5 minor, and they're called pranas, and usually it's pancha, vayus, 5 in pancha. They're called Naga, Koorma, Krikara, Devadatta, and Dhanan, maybe a little bit differently pronunciation. And they're pancha vayus more growth, more limited manifestation of energy compared to the pancha pranas. And here the elaboration about that difference between vayus, and as I say, sometimes we say vayus just the wind or some type of any flow of the prana within your body. So sometimes people say main pranas are vayus. These 5, it's together 10, or some differentiate the vayus in the pranas. And here it's highlighted that works such as Shiva Svadhyaya in the Dhyana Bindu Upanishad. You find a very specific distinction in usage of the terms pancha prana and pancha vayu. This distinction is preferable as experience of prana at the level of the pancha pranas and the pancha vayus is qualitatively distinct. And in general, when you go to any yoga classes or something, people kind of don't differentiate it as much. So let's start with first, Naga. This field of activity causes belching and hiccups. When the air elements is agitated, Naga become active and tries to throw the agitated air out of the stomach, causing vibration in Udana, Prana, and Samana. Naga remains inactive as long as the diet and digestion are healthy. In the state of meditation, Naga does not function. So it's the one that you have these hiccups, and I used to have a lot of hiccups when I was a child. Sometimes we think these things, just the physical body does it, and there's no any other control. But in yoga you can find there's these disbalances of this particular vayus, the pranas as well, and that's what's responsible for activation of this function of the body. Koorma. This field causes the blinking of the eyes and keeps the eyes healthy, moist, and protected. It enables one to see all objects. The eyes shine due to the energy of Koorma, and one appears impressive. When Koorma is under control, the yogi can keep the eyes open for hours, performing Trataka. Although Koorma operates in a small area, just around the eyes, it has a lot of force during meditation. It makes concentration firm and deep. And that's very commonly I see with people sometimes. They're very hard for them, or they're blinking too often, or opposite, they don't blink as much. Or they doing the meditation, a particular practice, it's very hard for them. Was just to bring the gaze on the Nasikagra Drishti or to the forehead, Shambhavi. So they have these problems, and sometimes people have extra irritated eyes or uncontrolled drop of tears and this kind of stuff. Koorma is responsible for that, and you can practice with me Trataka, and this actually was part of the one practices for our chakra course. We do this. This is when you have to gaze on a flame of fire or something, image or something like that. Without blinking, and it's quite a cleansing practice. So first you might feels like opposite effect. You want to cry, you have sharp sensation in your eyes can get very irritated, and people stop practicing because of that. But actually the more you surpass this moment of cleansing, we call it like a cleansing, and then it's become much better. It's similar like if you have poisonous, you eat something not well, and then you go and you have very cleansing moment when you have to vomit, or you have some kind of bad gasification or something like that. But then the moment you cleanse and clean yourself from that, and then you will be part of the healing. So similar here. Krikara. This field causes yawning, hunger, and thirst, and assists in respiration. So everything related to these sorts of things, like you want to yawn or swallow, hunger, thirst. Due to relation with yawning, its origin is sloth and lethargy. When Krikara is controlled with practice, sloth and sleep overcome, hunger and thirst control, and sweet secretions begin to flow in the mouth. The control of Krikara is especially helpful during fasting and samadhi. And yeah, this is when, as I told you, one of the first talks about yogis who've been in the laboratory. They don't even need to breathe, or not even talking about food, or they do eat, but they don't have this. They can totally control. So several days you cannot eat, and it's absolutely fine. It's nothing harmful. There's no this like, oh, if you're gonna miss your meal, it's gonna be very bad for you. Opposite, it's actually cleansing and healing for the body, and vayus, and it's cleans for energetic fields as well. And that's why we do regularly cleansing techniques. We do cleanse. I like to do it with the change of the seasons, or in case if you get sick, you don't want to get sick, you have it like a prophylactic cleansing. But at least 2, 3, 4 times a year, you should do this nice kind of, like you clean your house. There's a big general cleaning of your house. You wash the windows, wash the curtains, wash everything everywhere. That's what we should do with our body too, because it get over, if you little bit by little bit, not polluted, but over exert the body with more digestion, different types of food, and it's non-stop, you need to get a rest to the body. Usually we'll rest through the night, so it's if you don't have a late meal and you don't eat straight away in the morning, you do your practices and stuff, so you have about good 10, 12 or even more hours of nothing coming to the body, and the body can sustain. But sometimes we're in a state when we eat too much before, the days before, drink, eat, or whatever, consume something, and we need this deeper cleansing. And that's why 3 days fasting, even 1 day once a week, or 3 days every month or something like that, will be very beneficial, and you will feel it dramatically improving your health and state of mind and well-being. That's one Devadatta. This field causes sneezing and aids in respiration as well. Becomes activated by sharp or irritating smells and causes pain in the nostrils in more intense conditions. In the subtle states, Devadatta enables the practitioner to experience divine smells. And we have a practice specifically for that, right at the base, and as a specific, when we have concentration there, we have some practices. When we gaze on tip of the nose, or we keep awareness on Muladhara, you might experience smells. And it's not just the smells that surround us every day, we're aware of them, and some people not so much because they over-polluted and stuff. But the moment you start cleansing and practices this more consciously, you start smelling more sharply things, first of all, and secondly, you can have a very good memory smell. So sometimes if I think about something, I have the smell, I feel physically the smell of something that's not around here, not on even this part of the planet, and this kind of stuff. But there's also, you can smell the astral field around us. So like a prana, the aura, these all things, they all have a smell as well, which is not accessible to us in just this normal, through the physical body, normal kosha, the physical kosha. In some meditations or practices, you can experience smell of burn, or smell of absolutely sweet flower, honey type of nectar. And these kind of things, they all come to you with practice. So don't be surprised, don't be alarmed, you're not going crazy. You're just getting cleansed and more attuned to these things. And last one, Dhanan. This field pervades the whole body, and it relates to the organ of touch. Yeah? The influences of work of the muscles, arteries, and the veins, and the skin. The swelling experienced during an injury is due to the motion of Dhananjaya. During a tamasic state, it reinforces sloth in the body, and also this vayu is the last prana to leave the body after death, and is responsible for decomposition of the body. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Probably you never heard about these kind of things before. So this touch swelling, and when we get we hit the head and we have this bump coming out. So all these things, it's yes, we understand on the biological kind of level how it's happening. We have hormones, responses, nervous, this kind of stuff. And biologists will laugh probably on this lecture and say, oh no, this is some kind of voodoo science, that's what's happening. But sometimes people have very disbalance, and they tend to swell more, or opposite. They cannot encourage this function of cleansing, or being aware that something happened in the body. That's when those doctors or biologists, anatomist people, they shake their head and they say, oh, something wrong, maybe you have some kind of allergy, something wrong with you. And often if they're not sure, they usually tell you it's genetics, or you were born like that. So it's a very easy way to kind of discard these things. And it's true, you were born like that maybe, but more often we have these disbalances. We got them through the life. And as I say again, or through some kind of activity or inactivity or some kind of disbalance in our vayus. Even through the yoga, sometimes people come to yoga and they are already overexcited, already over busy mind, and they do some practices which make it more excitement. Sometimes it's nice to do some excitement practices and then divert it in bring it to balance or peace or to the middle and use it to calm down the body. But sometimes people just excited, they go to the gym and then they stop there and then they carry this excitement through the day or through the week, through the night, and they feel even more disbalanced before they practice. So just be aware of these type of things, and if you really want to, don't kind of fall into this trap. Or some people very sluggish and sloth, if we looked on this other vayu, the Krikara, yeah? And they go to the very slow, down-to-earth, cooling down practice, and they come out even worse after the yoga. Well, not worse, but they kind of relax, the muscles feel better. But in the terms of sharpness of the mind, or wake up this vayu, this didn't happen for them. So maybe for them, it's better to go and do some little bit more excitement, like Surya Namaskara type of practices, hold some warriors, and then at the end, cool it down, do some calming pranayamas. So all these things are very important, and we need to understand the people who come to us as a yoga practitioners and ask for advices. When people come to me, always before class, after, or just when they find out that I teach yoga, they always ask me, "Oh, I have this problem, and should I do this or this?" And I say, well, I cannot advise you right now because I need to know why you have it, history, how often, and you need to think about what practices can help you to overcome it, not make it worse maybe. So think about these things. So that's the last point, pranayama and prana vidya. And here just read some sentences from this. Although the 10 pranas, major and minor, are identified separately, they work in synchronicity to take every physical action to its rightful conclusion. So it's very complicated system, as you can see, not just physically our body, very complicated, but also all these vayu interact to each other. For example, in the process of metabolizing the food, prana helps to take the food down, and then samana facilitates its digestion, dhyana circulates the nutrition through the body, apana eliminates the waste material, and udana carries the energy derived from the food for physical work. So that's all these things happen not just on a chemical level. How all the cells, which seems like they're so far away from different parts of the body, have the signals to do this, and we have these pranas, vayus, which facilitate it. And it's very common when some people have the prone to overweight, or opposite, they burn too much energy and this kind of stuff, too much fire, too much water, too much earth, or disbalance in these vayus as well. So all these interconnected, very, very, very complicated, complex. And you can see now from just reading this first paragraph from this book, that this our body and yoga practice and pranas and energy and all these things, that's not exist just by itself, or it's not affecting us in everyday's life. And here it says, therefore, when all pranas are balanced, the body and mind are in state of optimized harmony. And that's what I'm just saying. However, this is not usually the case due to the overuse and misuse. The pranas of most people are in a state of imbalance. And it's not just it's not your fault. These kind of things happen. It could be the environment, stress you're receiving, other people, actions or not actions, and so on. In the course of daily life, worry and stress use maximum prana so that the pranic field become exhausted and discharged. And that's why people so much like to do yoga and stuff like that, or go into the environment and kind of recharge in the forest. Because remember, in the forest as well, all the trees, they like these batteries of the pranas as well. As I told you, pranas everywhere. And when you go in the forest, first of all, disconnected from houses have electric currents throughout, which is well depleting our prana. Cell phones, too many people, cars, all these things, asphalt roads, too much metal in construction of the building and stuff like that. That's why people used to live in a wooden house and feel more healthier. And when you go to the wooden house, you kind of feel like it's like a retreat for you, isn't it? You go to a forest house, it's ideal. But when we're in the city, we feel stress already just being there, that's how it is. This is in turn cause fatigue, depression, and insufficient digestion and circulation. That's what we said. All these things can come just from these simple things. This vicious cycle continues. The body doesn't have the strength to walk, work, or think, and the smallest disturbance causes nervousness and anxiety. And as you can notice these days, enormous amount increase of nervous disorder and anxiety and depressions. And I will make a separate talk about this, because I was reading about some research about how stress and depression and people just feel unhappy, just unhappiness increased dramatically in the last 5-10 years. And specifically, we know that undeveloped or whatever, I don't think you can say like that, developed, undeveloped country, third world country, whatever, I think it's incorrect terms, but in some kind of richer countries, which we get used to, Western countries, there's people tend to think that are generally happier because they have better life, better income and this kind of stuff, infrastructure, but this research showing that it's not true, that's everywhere getting worse, and especially in those more richer countries. In order to remedy this, the prana needs to be charged constantly, so the functioning and optimized and balance is maintained. This is the first objective of pranayama, which charges and replenishes the pranas through the practices. When the pranas are sufficiently charged, they are awakened. And that's why we practice pranayama yoga. And in yoga, there's a lot of pranayama. So when you're doing already asanas, you're already doing breathing as well, because it's very inhale, exhale. You practice asanas, but you're very specific about your breathing that time. And then we go into this deeper pranayama practices at the end. I always have 10-15 minutes at the end of the sessions, even short ones, for pranayama meditation separately. We do all sorts of bandhas, maybe some other practices like concentration on some points, and we do meditation. During the practice of prana vidya, one releases the awakened prana. The practitioner becomes intensively aware of each individual prana, its movement, and psychic perception. So imagine you can not just know logically in your mind about what I just said, all these pranas here, samana, udana, apana, and all these little minor pranas, but you also can feel them constantly having action within you throughout the day, whatever. And then, like a master of yogi, you can start controlling them. That's the mastery I found very profound. So the practitioner aware of them, its movement, and however, one can also begin to appreciate the nature of the different pranas by observing and concentrating on the different actions caused by them. Through the realization of the pranas, consciousness is realized. And that's we'll all come back to this, how to get enlightenment or realize yourself. The sensation of prana in a particular area can become the medium of experience, of consciousness, or the intelligent principle in that region. We're trying to tell you here that pranayama, and I don't know if I stressed it enough, pranayama breath work, it's this medium through which we start getting into this higher, more subtle, Koshas bodies. We talked about this when we talk about the bodies. And at the same time, if you're super enlightenment through the prana, you can work with your body. So the prana, which kind of like a breath, but it's not. You will feel it through the practice. It's not just a breath, as we said. It's the tool. It's like your, in a car, it's your wheel or the gear shift. You can switch from body to body, and it's very accessible because we're all breathing while we're living. Yeah? It's amazing. As the prana pervades the gross as well as the subtle functions, the deeper the realization, the subtler is the perception of consciousness. When the realization of the pranas is sufficiently intense, the yogi can guide these forces and transfer the qualities as required. And that's what I said. First, you start feeling these things. Same with the chakras. Chakra is just part of your prana body, basically. It's to this vortices of energy. So it's like we have this nadis, the channels of the prana flowing through the body. We have all these different compartments like udana, apana with different functions. And through all of this, you have this like in a city, you have different suburbs, yeah? And you have road connecting them, and you have intersections, roundabouts. In New Zealand, we have a lot of roundabouts. It's basically your chakras, yeah? So if you go on a city market, you have so many people, so much energy, different things happening, different roads going to the central city market or the square. There will be one of the chakras, for example. It's very growth interpretation of that. So you start not just feeling it through your yoga practice, you start the next stage. You can kind of control it. What does it mean control? You can bring awareness to particular nadis or chakra and flow the energy there. And then you can start using it to do something, asanas or particular meditation techniques. And then you might even, some people can use this energy to heal others, healing basically happening like that. The more you're realizing these things, not just start realizing every muscle, bone, organ, then I'm realizing my prana body, nadis, chakras, then I'm realizing my next bodies, mental body can control it and this kind of stuff. And eventually you're activating all your brain and enlightenment will happen. So think about these things next time you go to yoga class. Hari Om, blessings.